Hello, I'm Dan Ramey, contributing editor to Internal Auditor magazine's Fraud Department and president and founder of Houston Financial Forensics. I am pleased to introduce this episode of Fraud on the All Things Internal Audit podcast, which provides fictionalized accounts of fraud based on actual events.
The Fall of the Trusted Leader, Part 1, The Bank Everyone Trusted. Prairie Crest Bank didn't look like the kind of place where fraud took root. The Colorado-based community bank was small, stable, and proud of its hometown reputation. Its CEO, Grant Huxley, donated to schools, sponsored youth sports teams, and greeted customers by name in the lobby. To most people, Huxley wasn't just a banker. He was a pillar of the community. Inside the bank, Daniela "Danny" Alvarez had earned a reputation of her own. The internal auditor was known for her calm demeanor and relentless attention to detail. Colleagues joked that Danny noticed things other people walked right past. If something didn't quite add up, she would find it. During Prairie Crest's annual audit of commercial lending, everything initially appeared routine. Loan balances were stable. Performance ratios sat comfortably within expectations. Nothing raised alarms until Alvarez noticed 3 borrower names she hadn't seen before. Sierra Plains Logistics, Harbor Trail Supply, Milo Ridge Development. Part 2. Patterns don't lie. Individually, the loans looked ordinary. Together, they didn't. All 3 had been personally approved by Huxley. Each loan had been restructured in nearly identical ways. Even more unusual, the borrowers made payments in the exact same amounts, often on the same dates. Alvarez didn't call it proof, but she knew it wasn't normal. She requested the original underwriting documents. They weren't available. The collateral valuations were described as in transit. Cash flow statements were temporarily restricted due to an IT upgrade. One missing file might have been a delay. Several missing files tied to the same executive felt deliberate. So Alvarez shifted tactics. Her next step was to trace the payments backward from the bank to the borrower. The payments weren't coming from the borrower's accounts. They were coming from Huxley Consulting Services. Part 3. Pressure builds. Alvarez documented everything and expanded her testing. 2 days later, Huxley stopped by her office. "I hear you're reviewing some of my legacy accounts," he said in a friendly tone. "Nothing concerning, I hope. Those borrowers are salt of the earth folks." In response, Alvarez asked Huxley for the missing underwriting documents. "I'll look into it," he replied, but she never received them. The next morning, Alvarez couldn't access the lending system. Her credentials had been suspended for maintenance. A department head suggested she should wrap up the audit quickly. A senior manager told her the loans didn't need that level of scrutiny. At that point, Alvarez knew the issue wasn't just the loans. It was the resistance. She contacted the audit committee chair, Frank Dillon, and laid it all out for him. Missing documentation, suspicious payment routing, repeated obstruction. Dillon didn't hesitate. "You did the right thing," he said, and immediately contacted state banking regulators. Part 4. What the files revealed. Regulators arrived unannounced the next morning with subpoenas in hand. They accessed the very files Alvarez had been denied and quickly realized the issue extended far beyond 3 loans. They uncovered dozens of loans tied to shell companies with no legitimate operations. False accounting entries hid loan losses and inflated the bank's capital position. Personal expenses for luxury vehicles, international travel, and real estate were paid from bank accounts and disguised as loan offsets. Anti-money laundering controls had broken down, records had been withheld, bank examiners were misled. What started as a routine audit became a full-scale enforcement action. Investigators determined the scheme had been operating for at least 2 years. They alleged that Huxley had issued loans to friends and neighbors that were never repaid. Some borrowers didn't even realize loans had been posted to their names. Other loans were used to offset overdrawn customer accounts. In one case, maturity dates and payment schedules were repeatedly changed to make a loan appear healthy, even though only one payment had ever been made. Part 5. The Cost of Trust. Federal bank examiners took control of Prairie Crest's systems. Regulators shut the bank down. Employees watched as federal agents escorted Huxley out of the building. A federal grand jury later indicted him on 15 counts, including bank fraud, conspiracy, falsifying records, obstruction of regulators, and failure to implement anti-money laundering controls.
This has been the All Things Internal Audit Fraud Podcast. Fictionalized accounts based on actual events. Brought to you by the Institute of Internal Auditors. IIA members can access the full story in this month's issue of Internal Auditor magazine, including bonus materials on lessons learned. To read more, visit internalauditor.theiia.org. For more fraud-related resources, including guidance and thought leadership from the IIA and the ACFE, visit theiia.org/ACFE fraud.